today marks the first day of what I like to call, well, a lot of people call it this, but false spring, which is a week that we get, I'm sure other places get it too, in the middle of winter, where the weather is uncharacteristically warm. And that's this week. So from now through later end of next week, we're gonna have 60 degrees, sunshine. That's warm, by the way, for the Pacific Northwest in winter. And I am very excited. So I wanted to give you a little vlog on how the high tunnel's going. Yesterday, my husband put up the sweet pea netting. So because sweet peas grow so tall, we do, this is a 5-foot T-post, but normally I do 6 feet. And then we zip tie a bamboo stake, so it makes it 10 feet. And then we attach 2 layers of netting all the way down. Oh, and then this stuff up here, that's just overhead irrigation that we can turn on. So with the warm weather, these are really going to start to take off soon. And then I planted this tunnel very specifically. So the sweet peas are here, and during the day, the sun is going to be over there. And then the row next to the sweet peas are pansies. So once those sweet peas grow up, they are going to shade the pansies for most of the day, which means the pansy stems will get even taller than they're supposed to be. But these are already starting to bloom. Pansies don't mind cold, well, some cold, but you can see all the color. And the first stems always start out short, but as they mature, they get longer and longer, and then you can use them for cut flowers. Here's some more down here. You can't tell, I really like pansies. And my main goal for these is actually to save the seed, and I'll do a seed saving video later on. And then on the other side of the sweet peas are ranunculus. Those are my hoop ranunculus. The remaining succession of ranunculus that I posted a bit ago is gonna go out in my field. But these ones will all be blooming in a couple, 2 to 3 weeks, because they've been growing since December. I'm also getting the first anemones. There's a bunch in here. They come up from the ground. So I will definitely have flowers by next week. And I just found the beginning of the first ranunculus bud right down there. So I'm getting, all of these are starting to send those up, I can tell, at the base. So yeah, I'll probably have ranunculus in a couple weeks too. And then another thing is, 2 days ago we got 2 inches of rain in 24 hours, which is not really abnormal. We get a lot of rain here in the winter. We don't often get that much at one time, but it definitely highlighted again some drainage issues we're gonna have to work on. I'll show you, so you can see one right back there. Thankfully, none of them are where the tunnel is, which I knew because I thought about that, but there's one there. And then there's one right there. So part of this is simply because we tilled here, and so it removed a lot of the plant matter that would help with this amount of water. And it also when we tilled, it ended up regrading the soil a bit. So this is definitely a low spot, but you can see it's actually pretty swampy through here. And if I walked through there, it's pretty swampy. So I'm purposely walking where there's grass so I don't sink. Now, good news is, this is why I'm not overly worried about this, but you can see it there too, as I know it will never be like this in the summer. we never get that kind of rain. And I also knew I'd probably deal with this because the place where we bought our property, it's known in our county that the water table is higher. But the last time it did this in winter, I think a month ago, we kept tabs to see how quickly this would dry up. And it only took about 2 days of sunshine for this to all sink into the ground. So that's not bad. So I know it's not gonna stay here that long, but I also don't want just seasonal lakes because I do plan on having a lot of this area planted eventually. So we're debating different methods of dealing with it. Whether we do maybe a rain garden where it's the wettest, maybe we dig a bigger, like an actual pond, and then install drains so it kind of all drains into one area. You know, there's a lot of different ways that we could go about it. But the main takeaway right now is I'm not really stressed about it because I know what it's like during the summer, which is the time when I'm mainly growing. Mostly at this point, I'm just taking a lot of documentation so that when we plan out our hoop houses, because I will be doing more than just that one, we make sure that we don't put them any place where there could be potential drainage issues, just in case what we do to fix it fails or doesn't work. So I haven't really shown this part much, but there's the hoop house, this gate, this bit where it's fenced is not ours, but within this fence, this is all ours. So this is about an extra 1¼ acres. And so hoop house, and then behind the hoop house is the flower field. There's that pond we were just at. And then there's this. Now this definitely stays mostly dry. I don't know if you've noticed, but our property has like no trees. We have, you know, maybe 6 to 7 in the front, but the rest of it, there's really none. It's just grass. That tree border, that's not ours, that's our neighbor's. So yeah, we actually don't really have trees. So in this 1/4 acre, I don't want a dense forest, but I do probably want to plant 30 to 50 trees sporadically through this whole place, especially on that back fence for privacy. Oh yeah, and these are my kids' pits, which are definitely filling with water. So every spring, my kids decide that they want to dig holes, and they have done this the last like 4 years. They did it at our last property. They do it here. We kind of let them do it to a certain point, and then we're like, okay, you can't dig it any deeper, for numerous reasons. But that one's my daughter's, and then my son has one right over here. But their goal this time was to build underground houses. So there's a type of greenhouse you can do where you dig in and you do steps down, and then you do a roof over it so you can grow underground. So this is my son's. It's not as deep. Honestly, it's about 18 inches. But what I want to do is I want to channel their hole digging energy into digging me holes for my trees. I feel like there's a way I could work this angle that would make it fun. Maybe. Once the trees are planted, obviously those are going to take some years to grow up. But my goal with this 1¼ acres is I do want to build some type of building probably around there. Can't do it back there because that's our septic. So somewhere that's not going to interfere with, you know, lines and all of that. But I've always had a dream to, okay, some people will think I'm nuts, but I basically want to build an above ground hobbit house. Yeah, I know. But so somewhere over there, and then trees. And then I basically want to just permaculture this whole place. So food forest, natives, you know, plant it, wide grassy paths, and then just let it grow up and be a little wild. Probably a wildlife pond in there. But one of the things that excited me so much about this property when I first saw it was that it was a really blank slate, which is something I've dreamed about, just being able to do all the things that I want, which some of them are going to take years, but I'm okay with that. It's honestly part of the fun. And knowing me, because once I decide to do something, I kind of do it. That Hobbit house might work happen sooner than I think, or sooner than I'm saying. Let's put it that way. Sooner than I'm saying. Sooner than I'm telling my husband. He's great though. He just goes with all of my crazy ideas. But yeah, that's the goal for this. I don't want to farm it. I do want to plant it or influence the planting, but I really want it to be kind of a retreat that is guided and influenced, but is left mostly to nature. And then this area will be where the farm is, which is about an acre. And honestly, that's all I really want to farm. I know a lot of people have asked me, it's like, oh, are you going to change your name? You know, you're farming on so much land. I'm just, nope. Because all I really want to farm on is an acre. My goal has always been to do more than just farming. Because in order to have a profitable farm, which is really important to me because this is a livelihood, this is not a hobby, I have to prioritize things like efficiency. I have to prioritize crops that sell. I have to prioritize a lot of things that you don't have to prioritize when you just want to grow a garden. But I love both. Gardening was my first passion, and I'm very passionate about farming, and I love, honestly, the business side of it. But I am so thrilled to actually have the space to do both. And I view confining myself to 1 acre of growing space to be, and making a living, making a livelihood off of only an acre, to be a challenge that I'm willing to take on. And honestly, if you've grown flowers, an acre of flowers is a whole lot of flowers. The most I've ever grown before this year was a 1/4 acre. That is the most flowers I have ever grown. And I was able to have a profitable farm and a livelihood off of a 1/4 acre. So don't let anyone ever tell you that you need acres and acres of land in order to have a flower farm. You definitely don't. I think I'm going to have so much work on my hands with only an acre. One last stop in the cutting room. I wanted to show you, because I talked about how I like these trays because you can see when they root. So what I do is, you can see, I just lift it up. Anyway, you can see all the little ones that are starting to send out roots. So I'll be doing another video soon showing how I pot those up. Oh, another thing that I'm experimenting with, which I had done before, so it's not a total experiment, is rooting in water. So I know it works. I'm just actually seeing how long it takes compared to the soil. So I'll do an update on that one too. Here are my current cutting ones that are waking up. So I have this whole shelf, this whole shelf, this whole shelf. These ones down there are waking up. There's one over here. Eventually, well, probably by the weekend, both of these shelves will be completely full because I'm trying to get the rest pulled that I want to wake up. And then there's a couple more over here that I did last night that need to go. Well, they don't need to be under lights until they've woken up, so that's why they're over here. So that's a little end of February update. I'm finishing up my field plan. Getting the rest of the hardy annuals started this week. It's a plane. And getting the tubers finished, organized, and counted for a restock sale. And then starting them for cuttings and weeding. There's a lot more stuff. Yeah. I'm also getting roses this week, so I'm planting those too. Now that I started that list, I'm thinking of like 50 other things that I need to do. Anyway, I'll record some of them. But yeah, that's farm life. There's not a lot of sitting around, let's just say that. The rest of these sweet peas are getting planted out. I've already done a ton, but these ones are going in the field specifically. I'll be taking more cuttings. I have 2 more trays of carnations to plant, and then all the ranunculus that I'm pre-sprouting will probably be ready to go end of next week. So that's a little update of what's going on right now on the farm. Let me know if there's any areas you'd like to see more of. And thanks for watching. So I had to show you all real quick, but we found barn owls in our barn, and they're nesting. I'll see if I can get one on video. There's one of them. There's 2. They're definitely building a nest in here. We think that they're up above that plywood rafters during the daytime. I don't know where the other one is right now. But I'm super excited about it because they eat a lot of voles. So that's the end of today's vlog. We're kind of hoping they put their nest somewhere where we can put like a game camera so we can watch the owlets, but we'll see. Our barn is super tall, so if they put it up really high, that's not gonna happen.